Hello everyone, welcome back to Piofiore Faded Memories. We are back today with finale route slash kind of secret boy routes. And you know, I'm excited to continue because the last video was, it was a good one for me. Like, I was thoroughly entertained the whole time. We got stuff with Dante, kind of hurt my heart because I know I'm not going to end up with him. The moments with him were so good. If you couldn't tell by my not even be able to get out that sentence because I was just so overwhelmed just thinking about it. We also got some good moments with Henry and we're learning more about him. And then we got the huge bombshell that Chloe was in love with Dante's dad and it kind of made her go a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And now she's dead. Fell off a cliff. Was it her that did it? Was it someone else? We don't know. So yeah, I'm excited to learn some more. We're still only in chapter 6 still? The chapters in this route, yeah, we're in chapter 6 still. The chapters in this route are so long compared to Gil's route. Like, the chapters went by so quick in his. Now it's like, oh my god, we're still only on the second real chapter of this route because the first 4 were just Gil. But yeah, there was a point I was gonna make after I went on that tangent. That point is gone. So let's continue. All right, so we've been escorted by Dante to his office. I took a bite out of Julia's. It literally just looks like it says Macedonia. I'm with a slight blush on my face. Oh my god. This tastes good. The sweet fruits and refreshing lemon flavor blended well with the homemade syrup and white wine. The milk and cream gelato paired perfectly with it as well. I glanced at Dante. He was enjoying the dolce with all the elegance and grace that you'd expect from a boss. The way he escorted me earlier also seemed to come very naturally to him. I looked at Dante again. Why do you look so sad? He was sipping the espresso with a frown on his face. Oh, that's right! He got the espresso because we got it. Oh, okay. The correct answer is, you don't have to force yourself. You don't have to force yourself. You are so cute! Oh my god! I love him. But you don't drink it often, do you? But you look so sad. Well, yes, but it's true you don't really like it, right? Oh my god. Why force yourself? Lily, I think we should just drop it. Dante doesn't say a word, but his brow twitched. Did I make him angry? After a while, Dante mumbled. Oh my god! Should I be with the Dante Bills right off the bat? Oh my god. I like sweets too, Dante. We can like sweets together. Huh? Oh my god! This man. What is he doing to me? My heart! They keep hitting me with blushy Dante. Maybe Dante's been suppressing a lot of things to maintain his image. Despite his being stern and sometimes cold, I think he's really kind deep down. He is! That kindness is probably indicative of Dante's true self. It sounded as though he was trying to convince himself. I think everyone shares the perception that the mafia is to be feared. But whether you like sweets or not, or how you feel about bitter tastes, that's just what makes you who you are. Everyone is allowed to have a preference. I'm fairly certain there are bosses who enjoy sweets. I also think there are many out there who simply don't care for espresso. Hearing my honest opinion, Dante chuckled, a bit troubled. Shh, the general public doesn't need to know. I suppose so. I was raised at the church, so I may not be the same as the public. I looked straight at Dante as someone who has faced the public many times. But you've been working hard to fulfill your mission.
お前も同じだ。
No, I didn't know anything until recently. But you've had to think about why is this sentence so hard? But you've had to think about it all these years. My life doesn't compare to what you've been through. You've fought countless battles with that burden on your shoulders, even now. Dante took a sip of his espresso.
苦い。
Oh, Dante. I giggled, seeing his adorable frown. Dante chuckled too, then sighed.
少し喋りすぎたな。俺らしくもなかった。お前と話すと口が滑りすぎるらしい。
Well, we are like comrades, aren't we?
ファルツォーネ当主である俺にとって同じく使命を背負わされたお前は対等な存在だと思っている。だから俺には敬称も敬語も不要だ。
Maybe that's why it's difficult speaking with me.
かもな。
Oh, he was tasked with this mission as the Piofiore boss, and so was I as the key maiden. Prayer. Who is praying? Oh, Orlok.
なんだよ。あ、なんだ。姉ちゃんかと思った。
リリー、今手が離せないから。食事持ってきたけど、食欲は？
Man, this is like... I don't know what the word for it is. But it's like you two getting another shot in another life, you know?
ある!
In another life, Orlok could be your dad. Luca's eyes widen as he nodded vigorously. I quietly look at Luca grabbing the bread and furiously biting into it.
よかった。元気になったみたいで。
It's like a second chance for you two.
あ、これでまた仕事ができるぜ。
I thought for a moment, hearing Luca's enthusiastic
こ
voice.
の教会はルカみたいにストラノで暮らす子供を保護したりしてるけど。
ああ、なんかそれ前に姉ちゃんにも言われたことある気がする。
ルカはどうしてストラノで暮らす？
直球だな。
気を悪くしたなら。
いいよ、別に。俺、ストラノで母ちゃんと暮らしてんの。母ちゃんは俺が生まれるずっと前からストラノにいるみたいでさ。だからストラノ離れらんねえんだ。
父親は？
さあ、母ちゃんだって誰が父親かなんてわかんねえだろ。あいつ今働けねえからさ。めんどくせえけど俺が稼がねえと。
働けない？
薬とかそういうのやりすぎると体がボロボロになるって言うだろ。生きるのってすげえ大変だけど、でも母ちゃんには感謝してるんだ。俺を産んでくれたからな。
I quietly listened to Luca speak with a hint of embarrassment.
まあ俺はまっとうに生きてるなんて口が裂けても言えねえし、神様には顔向けできねえんだよな。だから教会ってちょっと苦手なんだ。
神様はきっとルカのこと見てる。
怒ってるかな。
怒ってない。ルカが頑張ってるところ見てくれてる。
だといいけど。
Luca returned to Strano after his recovery. I prayed that God would bless him from the bottom of my heart. Writers knew what they were doing there with that one. We know that what happened between those two, and Orlok's route was terrible. So, we're gonna give you this nice scene in the finale route. But for today, we would spend the afternoon together, enjoying a brief moment of leisure. Night had arrived. I was alone in the church saying my prayers. It may not be much, but we're getting closer to the truth. Oh, another meanwhile. I clasped my hands tightly as the thought of coming closer to the truth crosses my mind. Nightmare.
もうリトンたら、だから言ったのに、勝手に木登りなんてするからよ。ほら、 手当てするから。
痛くない。
え？
痛くないもん。
痛くないわけないでしょ。ほら、こんなに腫れて。
That's a little reminiscent of Lily and Henry in that scene they had.
ねえリトン、一体どうしたの？最近ちょっとおかしいわ。
だって僕ハルツオーネなんて嫌いだよ。ほとんど屋敷から出してもらえないし、ブルローネもイタリア料理も嫌い。フランスの方が良かった。
リトンたら、まだそんなことを言っているの？パルツォーネの人たちはみんな親切にしてくれるじゃない。
クロエはこの町が好きなんだね。
そうよ。とても素敵な町だもの。町並みは綺麗で、住む人も優しくて、私ブルローネが大好きになったわ。
ふーん。どうせ好きになったのはシルビオがいる町だからでしょ。クロエわかりやすいよ。
嘘。そんなにわかりやすい？どうしよう。シルビオには気づかれていないわよね。
とっくにバレてるんじゃない？
そうなの？
Awkward.
もうリトンってば、早く教えてくれればよかったのに。
冗談だよ、冗談。
You little prankster.
リトン、からかったのね。
誰の葬式だ？知らねえのか？ハルツオーネで囲ってたっていう女だよ。
ああ、聞いた。見かけで満足できなくて、自分が本妻になろうとしたんだって。
So that's what the public viewed her as?
おい。で、邪魔になったんだろうな。死因はナイフで一突き。だとよ。かわいそうなもんだ。
Stabbed? Julia said she fell off a cliff.
まったく、マフィアの女なんかになるから、こうなっちまったんだろうな。
Oh, we've reached a new chapter. Chapter 7. Like I said before, long chapters in this one. It had been about 2 weeks since I returned to the church.
今日少し留守にする。だから俺の代わりの護衛を頼んでおいた。
Where are you going? You're going out? That's very unusual.
しなければならないことがある。ごめんなさい。あなたのそばにいるのも俺の役目なのに。
Nasty ass Roseburg. Don't worry, you've done a lot for me already. I can manage by myself for today. The life I lived at the church was one I had known throughout my life, but Orlok has been constantly on edge, vigilant about guarding me amidst everything here. Stepping away should give him some space. But who will be guarding me then?
俺が頼みやすい人。
チャオ。
Nicola!
久しぶりだね。元気そうでよかったよ。
I definitely was not expecting Nicola. Oh, thank you for coming, Nicola. It was nice to see him again. I hadn't seen him since back at the Falzone Manor. It has been a while.
ウォルロックは夜まで出かけるらしいね。彼が戻るまで何か手伝いでもしようか。
Help? I appreciate his offer, but I had no idea what I could ask Nicholas help for. Maybe I could have asked him to do some petty chores before I knew who he was. But now I knew his role in the family. Cleaning, playing with the kids, an underboss doing chores. I know just the thing you can help with, Nicola. The sisters here are very worried about the state of the town. Elena hadn't said much, but I could tell that she wasn't smiling as much as before. The only person here who hadn't changed much was Sister Sophia. So would you be able to speak with and listen to the sisters here? I'm sure you'd be the best at listening and caring for them.
君が僕のことをどんな風に見ているのか。
Huh? I wasn't thinking badly of you. Nicola, you're very, He's very... good with girls. Good with girls. Yeah, that's what we're gonna call it. You're very likable. And you get along well with others, so.
はいはい、わかったよ。シスターたちのところに案内して。
Grassy, Nicola. Everyone should be at the refectory now. I led Nicola to the monastery. After a relaxing lunch with Nicola, the day continued as usual. The church hadn't seen many visitors recently, but an unexpected guest arrived. Yang! Yeah, every time he shows up it is unexpected. You've come again?
君昼間から動けたんだね。一人で教会に来るなんてどういう風の吹き回し？
オルロックが町に出たと耳にしてな。うるさい護衛がそばを離れているならそこの女と遊びやすいかと。まさかファルツォーネのアンダーボスが油を売っていたとはな。フランチェスカ、暇なのか？
驚いたのはこっちの方だよ。まさかラオ州の狩猟が油を売りに来るなんてね。
俺も神に祈りたくなることくらいある。近頃の治安の乱れには胸が痛むからな。
I'm sure. No one believes that. We both looked at Yang, likely with the same thought in mind. I didn't know you liked to joke, Yang.
そこのイタリア男よりお前を楽しませる自信はあるが、俺は場所にこだわらんぞ。
I don't know about that, considering I prefer Nicola's route over yours.
この国の人間じゃない君にはわからないだろうから教えてあげるよ。聖堂で女性を口説くのは良くないことだから、ちょっと自重してくれる？
呆れたものだ。神とやらは随分と心が狭い。フランチェスカ、その女は俺が見守っておこう。お前はあの未熟なカポの世話に戻ってはどうだ？
I don't think God's narrow-minded in this universe. I don't even need to say anything else. You know what I'm talking about.
あいにくだね。ダンテは僕に世話を焼かれるほど未熟でもないし、君がこの子をちゃんと見守れるなんてまるで思えない。せっかく気を使ってもらって悪いけど、僕もしばらく教会に残らせてもらう。
残念だ。男の顔を見るのは嫌いでな。
気が合うね。もちろん君だけ帰ってもいいんだよ。狩猟が不慣れな道で迷子になっても困るし、君の巣に電話して迎えを呼んであげようか。
You two have an interesting back and forth. Please stop. You're both scaring me. I bravely interrupted the two, going back and forth with unnerving smiles on their faces. Oh my god, if you know. Oh, whose route is it? Yanagi's route? No, Okazuki's route. Choleric's Malice. One of those. Shiraishi, who's my favorite Otome boy ever, and Okazuki have a back and forth that is just like that, where they're just kind of doing that back and forth dialogue, and they both just smile at each other, and the protagonist is like, they're smiling at each other. It's like frightening. Which is funny because Nicola and Shiraishi have the same voice actor. Please come back, Orlok. I'm suffering with these two. The following morning, as I got dressed, I thought about all I knew so far. So Chloe was a key maiden. She fell in love with the previous Valzone boss, but died somehow. Odds were highly likely that the director was her younger brother, Raton. And Raton is Henry. I don't know where the name switch happened, but who knows what that meant. Everyone had the same information, so I was sure things would progress. But Gil's trial and the church's deadline, there really wasn't much time left. Oh right, I forgot about Gil's trial. The town's current state wasn't helping either. I hear a lot of things happening around town recently. I heard some shops were being attacked just because the Mafia frequented them. Even worse was that the citizens were now attacking the Mafia themselves. Hardly anyone comes to church now. Only a handful came early in the morning to avoid being seen. There were many who had locked themselves in their homes too. Everyone already knows that this church receives support from the Mafia. Many must be scared to come to a place that could become the center of conflict. But in times like these, they should pray for support and look to God for guidance. It pained me thinking that those who used to come here to do just that, couldn't anymore. I need to keep my head up. This was no time to be feeling down. I needed to make progress. Let's check. I'm worried about the people. I offer my prayers in silence in the church. Please protect the people here, those who may be going through suffering. Nowadays, I hardly saw anyone coming to visit like before. The whole town was in chaos, and the police and hospitals have been on alert every day. If it's this bad here, then Strano must be. The people I used to serve at the provisionings came to mind. Luca fell ill with malaria, but after he recovered, he returned to Strano. I wonder how he's doing. I hope he's okay.
こ
Hello?
こにいた
Hi.
のですね、リリー。
Good morning, Sister Sophia. What brings you
あな
here?
たに相談したいことがあるのです。ああ、オルロックも呼びましょう。
Orlok? I think he's in the garden.
わかりました。見てきます。あなたは先に食堂で待っていてください。
Understood. Why is she going to bring Orlok?
今月の
I know
炊
what
き
it
出
is.
しの日が近づいてきましたから話をできればと思っていた
No,
の
you
です。
don't want to speak about the provisioning. You want revenge. You want to punch Orlok for all the times that he punched you. Okay, we're settling the score right now. Oh, that's right.
シスター、この町の現状で炊き出しを行うのは進められない。
ええ、わかっています。
But I'm not gonna
です
listen.
こんな状態だからこそストラノの人々は今まで以上に困窮していることでしょう。
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get a plane. And we're gonna put everything in the plane. And who's most likely to be able to fly a plane? Who would have that skill? I don't know. None of them seem like they could really drive a plane. Either way, we're gonna put someone in the plane. We're gonna drop everything down into Strano on the little parachutes, like in the Hunger Games. And then that way, you know, the citizens can't get at us for being related to the mafia. And then we drive the plane back. That's my plan.
炊き出しを先延ばしにはできません。今回の炊き出しにはブルローネ市警が警備をつけてくださることになりました。
Or the police could come. I guess that's also an option. But it's not as cool as a plane with parachutes. That's good to hear.
リリー、あなたは今まで何度も炊き出しに参加してくれましたね。ですが今回はたとえあなたが行くと言ってくれても
That's fair.
ご英訳のオルロックが承諾しなければ私としては許可
Okay,
で
never
きま
mind.
せん。
It sounds like you are allowing me to come. I thought for a moment, and the answer is I want to go. I want to go. I've been worried about the people of Strano. It wasn't hard to imagine what they were going through, especially with how difficult life was for them to begin with. Orlok, I'm giving you puppy dog eyes. Please? Please?
わかった。
He couldn't resist.
というか、あなたはそういう人だって分かってたから、俺が反対してもその気持ちはきっと曲げてくれないだろうし。
I'm sorry, Orlok. I know I'm asking for a lot.
いい。そういうあなただから守りたいし、守らなくちゃいけないって思う。
Thank you, Orlok. Orlok saw me smile and nodded back at me.
では私からシニョーレ・ファルツォーネに連絡しておきます。もし彼が炊き出しに反対するようならあなたの参加は難しくなりますが。
So many hurdles. I'm sure it'll be fine. The Falzone have always been supportive of the church's efforts. Dante's also very pious as well. I'm sure he'd be fine if he knows that Orlok will be guarding me throughout.
そうかもしれません。ファルツォーネからは炊き出しにそれとなく護衛をつけてくださるという連絡もいただいています。そしてファルツォーネ以外からも。
Sophia handed me a letter.
あなたが炊き出しに行くと言ったらこれを渡してほしいと託されました。
This is... I'll meet you there, Gilbert. been a while, hasn't it, Gilbert? Gil. The letter was short and simple, but I could tell he cared a lot. I better give my thanks to him. I thought about the upcoming provisioning, and I placed Gil's letter carefully away. A few days had passed. I was in Strano with Roberto and his police force guarding the area. Elena took a deep breath.
これから教会の炊き出しを始めます。一列に並んで。
With that, the provisioning began. The people began to form a line.
あれ
It's the same. We both looked at each other.
どうしたんだ、ジョーちゃんたち。
Oh, we're just surprised. Things here don't seem any different from before.
それは簡単には変わらねえだろう。ここはストラノだしな。
But Berlone is on an edge now with the riots and things.
ああ、毎日そこら中で騒ぎが起きてるんだって。まったく迷惑な話だぜ。おかげで仕事は減るわ、物価も上がるわ。
It was like they cared only about themselves. But they weren't saying it out of malice. Aren't you folks angry at the mafia here in Berlone?
ああ、なるほど。そういや、連中に協力したら逮捕だのって新聞が書き立てたんだっけか。
って言っても、俺らはファルチェやクレタで直に世話になってたわけじゃねえしな。あんまり関係ねえってのが正直なとこだ。
It seemed the current events weren't affecting Strano too much. I heard a familiar voice as I stood surprised at their reaction.
よう姉ちゃん
Hey! Glad to see you're alive. Luca.
この間は世話になったな。
He blushed as he poked his head out of the line he was standing in. I'm glad to see you're doing well.
あんな風邪大したことねえよ。
It was not nothing, you died once. Now don't be careless. You need to keep eating well to stay healthy. We brought a lot of food and sweets today, so just you wait.
へえ、姉ちゃんがそこまで言うなら仕方ねえな。食べてやるよ。
Hearing Luca's voice brought a smile to my face. We all continued with our work, serving the food to Luca and the other people in Strano.
まったくありがてえよな。教会様々だ
Praise
ぜ。
the church!
炊き出しにかかる金ってのはマフィアから出てるんだろ。だったらマフィアバンバン罪だな。
Praise the
俺は
mafia!
ああ、特にビスコンティのギルバート。あいつはよくストラノに顔出しちゃ大金をばらまいてくからな。
ああ、それにギルバートの持ってくる仕事はうまい話が多い。ビスコンティに振られた仕事で危ない目にあったって話も聞かねえ。
ああや、あいつが来た日はうまい飯が食えるってもんだ。今日も来るといいんだが。
なあ、マフィアから施しを受けると警察に逮捕されんじゃねえか。
そん時はそん時だろう。それに案外刑務所の方がストラノよりマシかもしれねえぞ。
違いねえや。
無駄話をするな。食事を受け取ったらすぐに下がれ。
へいへい、気をつけますよっと。
Hearing our laughing and bright voices made me realize something. It was only a while back when everyone had said Strano was a dangerous place to live. But now they actually look more like the way Berlone was before. How ironic to see how things turned out.
リリアーナ。
Yes? I jumped in surprise, hearing a voice call my name. Roberto! Oh, thank you for coming out here today.
くれぐれも気をつけろ。今のところ大きな騒ぎは起きていないとしてもな。
With that, he walked away. Okay, bye! I appreciated Roberto's concern. I decided to go back to work. Meet. This is the same place. As I left Liliana, I remembered something. Roberto? The words I said back there.
初めて彼女と言葉を交わした日にも、俺は同じことを言ったんだったか。
Random Roberto flashback time? I had just arrived in Berlone. Marco took me to the church to exchange formalities with the sisters there. On our way back was when we first met. She was consoling a crying child. After the child calmed down, she gave a smile like flowers in bloom.
俺は今もあの笑顔が忘れられない。
Oh, Roberto, you and your unrequited love that sometimes drives you to murder. I couldn't believe it myself. but it was love at first sight. It's crazy. I'm not saying I really want a Roberto route because of how much he scared me in Nicola's route, but it's crazy that he doesn't have one in the sequel when he is literally canonically in love with Lily.
マルコ、教会に若い女性がいましたが、彼女の名前は？
Like again, I'm scared of him. And he was seriously messed up in Nicola's route. But I also kind of feel bad.
ん？教会の子か？
おそらく。見なかったんですか？子供を慰めていたでしょ。
ああ、それじゃあリリーだな。リリアーナ。
リリアーナ。花のように清楚な彼女に。
I recalled feeling that vividly, even now. I came to church on a whim, but Liliana was nowhere to be
ボ
found.
ンジョルノ、シスター。今日は教会に人が少ないようだが。
ええ。今日はストラノで炊き出しなので。
I decided to go to Strano first before returning to the station. I found the provisioning site in Strano. Liliana was there with a smile on her face, handing food out to the people. I waited until the line was clear, then approached to speak to
お
her.
前はストラノの危険性を全く理解していないようだな。
Huh? Liliana looked at me with her eyes wide. She was very lovely.
こんな場所で炊き出しなどどうかしている。自衛する力もないくせに。
I'm sorry, but it's the duty of the church. I know the area isn't safe, but it's what we've been doing all along. I involuntarily frowned in
教
silence.
会の務めだからと危険を冒して炊き出しに参加しているのか。なんてけなげな娘だ。くれぐれも気をつけろ。今のところ大きな騒ぎは起きていないとしてもな。
Oh, thank you,
ロ
Signore.
ベルト・デ・フェオ。俺の名前だ。
Thank you, Signor De
ロ
Feo.
ベルトでいい。教会の女に敬称などつけられても居心地が悪いだけだ。
Oh, yes. Now that I thought back on it, that was somewhat rude of me.
俺は教会で見た笑顔の彼女も、ストラノで汗を流しながら働く彼女も、
But recently, I learned a hard
彼
fact.
女は俺には手の届かない存在だ。
Yeah, you don't have a route. I understood that I was lacking, seeing the current state of the town and justice yet to be fulfilled. I understood that I should let her go.
それでも思うのは自由だろ。せめてこの思いが歪むことのないよう自らを律していこう。
So that your feelings for her don't lead to murder. Oh, Roberto. I do feel kind of bad for you. We were nearly finished, and the lines dwindled to only a few remaining people.
おい、ビスコンティだぞ。
I was wondering when Gil would show up. I looked toward the commotion and found a group of men approaching us. Hey. Gil spotted me and began walking straight over. Gil, thank you for coming. Oh, and thank you for the letter. He smiled a little.
その様子だと特に問題は起きてねえみたいだな。
Yes, Roberto and the police were doing well keeping the peace. I couldn't find any of the Falzone members around, but I was quite certain they were also watching us from afar. The people here are a lot more settled than I thought. I'm just relieved that I was able to come out here today.
そうか。
I stared at Gil, as his smile seemed quite odd. Gil, is something the matter? Are you alright?
そうか。
You don't seem as jolly. Gil tilted his head when suddenly I noticed an unfamiliar smell. Are you doing drugs? He's doing the weed! Tobacco. Gil, I didn't know you smoked. He's doing the cigarettes! I never recall seeing him smoke, even when I was back at the Visconti's manor.
まあ、たまにな。
Gil smiled again, looking a little uncomfortable. I'd never seen him like this before. Buddy, what's going
俺
on?
たちの協力者を罰すると国が言えば、誰だってマフィアからは距離を取るさ。町の連中は何も悪くねえ。当然の反応だ。 今まで仲良
I
く
cut
して
you
た連
off.
中が殴り合ってる。そんな街を眺めるのはいい気がしねえ。
I'm sorry, Gil. Gil had been on good terms with the people of Berlone. Maybe Gil is the one most hurt, seeing what's happening to this town.
さっさと肩をつけてやりたいが、そうもできねえのが。
I could tell he was in pain. It'll be fine. Gil, I'm sure things will be fine once everything is taken care of. The people here will go back to normal again. I think everyone's just feeling uneasy lately with all that's going on, but the people here are strong and kind at heart, so things will work out. I understood that was easier said than done. It was going to require a lot of time. But I wanted to cheer Gil up, so I did my best to smile for him.
Grazie.
Gil patted me on the head. Ah, I looked up and saw Gil's smiling face. I didn't know he was this tall. You only just now noticed? Strange how that thought just crossed my mind.
慰めてくれたんだな。本当はあんただって不安だろうに。
No, I'm doing alright. Everyone has been helping me after all.
当然だ。あんたから目を離さねえよ。
We were talking with each other when suddenly a voice spoke my name.
おう、リリー。
Hey,
調子はどうだ？
buongiorno, Marco. You're here to help
い
too?
や、俺はロベルトたちがちゃんとやってるか冷やかしに来ただけさ。
They're doing very well protecting us. They haven't been in any incidents at all.
じゃあ、後で連中を褒めてやらねえとな。
I noticed something white sticking out from under his sleeve. Marco, is that a bandage?
まあ、ちょっとな。暴動の鎮圧でひねっちまったんだ。そんな深刻な顔するなって。大したことねえよ。
Did you not join the security here today because you were hurt?
まあな。おかげで簡単な仕事ばかりよこされる。書類と向き合うのに飽き飽きしてな。抜け出してきちまった。
Oh, Marco.
わかったわかった。無理はしねえから。
Marco rubbed his chin, then took a quick glance at Gil. He didn't look well. In fact, he looked quite stressed.
お前、教会に戻ったと聞いてたが、まだビスコンティと何かあるのか？
Gil looked like he wanted to say something. I shook my head slightly. Gil noticed and looked away. Thank you for thinking about me, but I'm fine, Marco. He was staring at me. I remembered what Marco told me before.
マフィアの圧力に若い女の子が振り回されるなんてのはもうたくさんだ。
Chloe.
お前さんがそう言うなら。
Thank you, Marco. I watched as Marco gave a weary sigh. I decided to ask him something on my mind. Marco, could I ask you a question? You told me a girl was being protected by the mafia and died later. I wonder if you can tell me more about it?
それは
Marco looked hesitant and glanced over at Gil.
ぜひ聞かせてほしいもんだな。マフィア絡みの話なら俺も気になる。
少し歩くか。
Marco gave a deep sigh, then turned around and began to walk. When we reached the edge of the forest along Strano, Marco finally stopped. There was no one around us.
どこまで話したんだっけな。
It was just how the girl was in the mafia's custody died. You mentioned that it happened a while back when you were younger. She was in the Falzone family's custody, right? At my question, Marco nodded faintly.
そうだ。名前
Yep,
は
Chloe.
クロエって言ったな。俺の担当した事件なんでよく覚えてる。
I knew it. Gil and I looked at each other.
俺は昔からそこそこファルツオーネに出入りしてたんで、彼女とは面識があった。だから、ヤッコさんの亡骸を見るのはどうも答えたな。
Can you specify how she died? Because some people said stabbing, but Julia said about falling off a cliff. Marco slowly took a deep breath before continuing.
ちょうど今くらいの初冬だったか。あの
Okay,
子は崖から海に落ちて死んだ。
so you said the cliff again. Maybe the person who said something about stabbing is just dumb.
シルビオ様は事態を重く受け止め、その兄弟をファルツォーネ桃園の家に養子に出そうとお考えになりました。その矢先、クロエお嬢さんは監視の目を盗んで屋敷を抜け出して、数日後遺体で見つかりました。ブルローネの崖から海に落ちたそうです。
Marco's words matched what Julia said.
生きてた頃、あの子と話したことがある。
With Chloe?
彼女はもともとマフィアとは全く無縁な身の上だった。じゃあどうしてそんな子がマフィアの屋敷にいるんだってシルビオに先代のファルツォーネのカポに聞いたらな、少しだけ話してくれたよ。彼女の両親の死にはマフィアが関わってたんだと。
彼女はマフィアのせいで両親を失った。そして彼女自身もマフィアの支配するこの町で命を落とした。
たく、やりきれねえ話だ。
Marco gave a deep sigh. Gil then asked the question.
どうしてクロエは崖から落ちたんだ？殺されたのか？
いや、事故死だ。当時俺たちも詳しく調べたが、殺しの線は浮かばなかった。
So she just walked really close to the edge? Or did she...
彼女は教会の教えをよく守る子だった。自分から命を絶つような真似はしねえだろう。
The church's teachings specifically prohibited taking one's own life. But the fact that Marco even investigated these possibilities must mean that he had his doubts back then. That maybe she had jumped off the cliff.
彼女の弟は最後まで納得してなかったかな。だがマフィア絡みの殺しじゃねえのは間違いねえよ。
Are you sure?
粛清にはやり方がある。それは俺よりギルバートの方が詳しいだろうが、上がったのはただの溺死体だった。重曹もなければ死相もねえ。発見が早かったのと冬の水温のおかげで水死にしては綺麗な死に顔だったな。
Someone could have pushed her. But I guess there would have been footprints as evidence of that? I don't know. Marco closed his eyes gently, then breathed another long sigh.
ただ一つだけ確かなのは、
He lit a cigarette and took a deep breath. A deep, hearty breath.
彼女の運命を狂わせたのはマフィアだってことだろうな。俺はリリーにそうなってほしくねえ。心配しすぎて悪いがな。
Marco chuckled bitterly.
この町で長年刑事なんてやってると良くも悪くもいろんなことに詳しくなる。だから余計に気をもんじまうんだ。
Marco. I took Marco's words of concern and the story he shared with us deep into my heart. The Falzone family upset her fate. Seeing that the provisionings was about done, I set off ahead of the others back to the station. I found someone unexpected in the alley.
マルコ、どうしてこんなところに？まさか炊き出しを見に来たんですか？報告書はもちろん終わりましたよね。マルコ、どうしたんですか？
あ、びっくりした。いきなりでかい声で呼ぶなよ、ロッピー。
何度も呼びました。
そうか、すまねえな。
マルコが考え事？珍しいですね。
なんでこの町はこうなんだろうな。
He sounded exhausted and weary. It was very unlike the Marco I knew.
俺がガキの頃からずっと変わらねえ。なんで犯罪はなくならねえんだ。警察が抑止力にさえならねえ世界なんておかしいとは思わねえか。
それは俺も常日頃から思ってますし、何度も言ってますが。
I'd never heard Marco talk so scornfully like this before.
俺はこの町を俺なりに守るつもりだったけど、今のままじゃ俺がしてたことなんて何の意味もねえんじゃねえかってちょっと思っちまってな。
本当にあなたらしくないですね。一体どうしたんですか？
いや、何？ちょっと人と話す機会があってな。柄にもなく そんなことを考えちまった。気にしねえでくれ。
I was on my way back to the dormitory after locking the church doors. Henry? Henry, no! Hey! You're taking me away from Henry! No! Now who am I? I was aimlessly walking under the night sky. I can hear fighting in the town. Yeah, I heard a punch sound effect. Angry voices, screaming, glass breaking, at times even gunfire. Oh.
狂っていたのは今までの方だ。
I can't even be mad. You took me away from Henry, only to just put me right back with Henry.
私は歪みを正しい形に戻しただけだ。
I continued on my way without a destination. And then you ended up here with me. Before I knew it, I arrived at a place I knew. Henry? And we're back. Yes, that's what we just read. I called out to the silhouette in the shadows. At first, he looked a bit surprised, but now he was simply staring at me. We looked at each other in silence. Henry? I decided to break the silence. Why do you come to the church?
なぜそんなことを聞く?
You didn't seem too interested in God or his teachings. I'm sorry if I'm mistaken. Henry paused for a moment, then nodded to confirm what I said.
祈りに来ているわけではないよ。ここには大切な人が眠っている。
Precious? Henry smiled curiously at me, seeing that I mumbled the words he just said to me.
けれど、今日は君の顔が見たかった。
Is Chloe in the graveyard here? Huh? I held my breath with hesitation.
大切な人が眠っている場所だから、私にとって教会はここに来るたび、望んでもいないのに過去が思い出される。けれど、君の顔を見られた日は、その悲しみが少し和らぐ気がする。愚かだな。
Well, you're always welcome here, Henry. He was smiling to himself with scorn, so I tried to cheer him up. I'll be waiting for you.
今夜、君に会えてよかった。
I'm glad I saw you. I thought I was gonna go a whole video without you. I was getting worried.
おやすみ、リリアーナ。良い夢を。
Yes, good night to you too, Henry. We've said our goodnights, but Henry wasn't leaving. Maybe he's waiting for me to leave? I smiled at him and waved my hand as I headed to the monastery. Okay, well, I think we're gonna go ahead and end today's video here. I'm glad we got a little bit of Henry there. I was gonna say, like, if the video ended without him, that I was disappointed that there wasn't any Henry, but we got him. We got a little bit of him in the end there. But yeah, so we kind of focused on a lot of other characters today, like Nicola and Yang, and surprisingly, Roberto and Marco as well. A little bit of Gil. Something I'm noticing about this finale route, which I do like, is that it's sort of giving little conclusions and wrapping up things for pretty much every character in a way. Like Roberto gets his moment, Marco gets his, Luca got his, you know. It seems to be doing that with everyone. Lon and Faye, Yang. So that's something that I like that they're doing. Even though I am a little disappointed that it has to, like, Henry kind of has to share a route with this finale route. And we finally made it onto a new chapter, chapter 7. Yeah, it's this mystery. It's interesting. I really want to know where this is all going to lead ultimately. I forgot about the trial until Lily brought it up. I wonder if that's going to play out any differently. But I am wondering, like, what's going to happen in chapter 8 that's going to, like, change things so differently that chapter 9 can be either finale route for sort of everyone or romantic route with Henry. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, very interesting. I'm excited to see where this is gonna go. I can't wait to record again and find out what'll happen on this such a peaceful day, as it says in the dialogue. That sounds nice, but in this game, who knows? That could lead to disaster. But yeah, so with that, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!